Welcome back to Unrated Podcast. You have Elijah here alongside Grant. We have another episode. We're in the midst of the NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics and Miami Heat just wrapped up 2 days ago. Celtics was able to take one, stormed back after kind of being down in the series, kind of looked dead on the road there for a minute, and they found a way to storm back. And, now we have the Warriors back in the finals.
Yep.
I believe it's sixth time in 8 years, facing off a group of young guys headed to the finals for the first time. It's kind of just, what are your initial thoughts? We're a day away from tip-off. But yeah, we should have a good one here on our hands.
Yeah, I would say I'm not the biggest Boston Celtics fan, but I feel like I've been really tapped into their series more than anybody else's. Just kind of feel like they, kind of had the hardest path to get here. Seeing KD and Kyrie first round and sweeping them, that's still something I just, still kind of blows my mind. And then seeing them go 7 with Giannis. I know there's injury thrown in there here and there too. Definitely don't want to discredit them getting here, but I just think, they were able to, win on the road. They lost games at home they shouldn't have lost. And then I'm pretty sure that they have not lost 2 games in a row since January 1st. So the way they just carry themselves, and I'm a big fan of their coach, Ime Udoka. I've been just kind of obviously hear more and more about him as they get farther and farther to the playoffs.
First year, correct?
Yeah, yep, first year, yep. I think he got, yep, they selected him last June or something like that. But I'm really impressed, and I'm not gonna lie. I think, I know people are kind of leaning towards the Warriors as far as them being the winners or winning the finals, but Boston has size. They're best defense in the league, and they got some pretty good amount of firepower too. So it should be a great series.
Yeah. So you think you're rolling with Boston to get it done, or I think early. That's kind of one of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would. I think my heart says Warriors in 6, but I just feel from a basketball standpoint, how the teams how they match up, I wouldn't be surprised if Boston got it done in 6 or 7. And I'm probably leaning more towards them just to, that'd be chaotic, right? At this point, all I really care for is chaos.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I've brought it up a couple times, but I've never even picked my Western Conference thing because I've kind of felt something with the Warriors, just the way they kind of played. Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Up towards the end of the year. So I guess I'm gonna do it a little bit in reverse, but I'm gonna go Warriors. I think in 6.
Right.
And I do think Boston is a very formidable team.
Yeah.
And I think the Warriors have handled they've made it look fairly easy. As their run throughout the West, and obviously, like you said, injuries on their side as well. Ja missed the rest of that series. Not Luka wasn't banged up, but he came in sick. They've had some benefits as well too. So
those typical Warrior runs. They always, somebody's always down or somebody's always a little banged up. It's a little easier on them.
So, no, I have to find it, but I got something for you. But no, so I don't know. All in all, I just think the Warriors are rolling. I think, that 4th ring means something to the 3 guys, Curry, Clay, and Draymond. I think that they would really cherish that 4th ring. I think that's something that not a lot of guys have reached that bar there. They've probably already are considered a dynasty, but if you get this done, there is no doubt that they are a dynasty.
The modern day San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, really. Like a 4. Just always in it.
Team just put together by draft picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think they got a good thing rolling. I think when you watch them play, they play. We're one of the only teams that. Well, I guess this way. When you watch them versus the Mavericks, it was very interesting to watch them come down and run such specific plays or certain scenarios or players or where they're inbounding the ball on the court. versus the Mavericks, who was we just out here thugging it out, getting it to Luka, jacking up threes.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, at one game they had like 33 threes in a half. Yeah. So, I just think Warriors are the team that's known for shooting threes. So that's kind of interesting as well. But, you know, I just think this matchup, I think the Warriors, their experience and they just really have playmakers at every facet, you know, whether it's Looney, whether Draymond is making a timely play, obviously Clay, Curry, Poole, and let's not forget about Wiggins. You know, Wiggins he was the real MVP for that squad as far as what he did in that last series. So I just think they got a little too much to firepower in general, and they're going to be hungry for that fourth ring or some of their first rings. So.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think, and I'm just kind of like playing like, you know, I'll be devil's advocate since we don't really care for any of these teams. But just from like a Celtics point of view, I just think like I'm gonna be real curious to see, you know, how they attack Steph and Jordan. Like these guys, I mean, for them, defense is optional. Oh wow.
That's you guys right now. Look at that.
That's why I just playing devil's advocate. But I just be real curious to see, you know, how they go at Steph and Jordan Poole, you know, making them play defense. Tatum 6'10", Jaylen Brown like 6'7", 6'8". I mean, Marcus Smart can go and get him. You know, he's 6'4", 6'5", and go get him. He'll give you a sneaky 20.
Yep.
You know, they got, I mean, for Kevin Looney, they got Robert Williams, Al Horford, Grant Williams, I mean, Daniel Tice, like, and these, I mean, I even think like that Warriors series with Dallas, I mean, Dallas is good to rebound the ball. So that was, I mean, you think if they would have had like a formidable, I mean, I think their starting center was like 6'6". They would have had like a formidable big, you know, probably would have been a little, you know, maybe a little different. I mean, they did just kind of shoot themselves out of that series quite a bit. But that's just how the makeup of their team is. But yeah, I just think like I'll be shocked if this goes, you know, Warriors in 4 or like Warriors in 5, something like that. You know what I mean? Just because of, I mean, the amount of like, the only thing with even Boston too is, I mean, they've been in the conference finals like what, 3 out of the last like 5 or 6 years themselves.
Yeah.
They got there in like 2018 when they were super young, when Tatum was a rookie.
Yep.
I think they got, I mean, they played Miami.
Been there in the bubble, I think.
Yeah, so they, you know, obviously the finals is a whole different ball game, but I mean, these guys, I mean, they just battle tested, you know what I'm saying, to a certain extent. And they, I mean, I think they saw, you know, some of the best players in the world. And some, you know, I mean, the East was pretty tough to get through this year. So
I'm still in these stats from Nick Wright or whatever, but I think they said Al Horford has played like 140 playoff games, and Tatum's played in 68. So I mean, that's a sizable amount considering that Tatum's considered a young player.
Yeah, Brown's probably played in like 50. I mean, Smart been there before all of them, so he's definitely played in probably close to 100. I mean, at least 70 or 80 too.
So no, I agree. I mean, I honestly, I probably would be shocked if they won. But I would not be shocked if this went. I said 6. I wouldn't be shocked if they pushed it to 7. You know, had the Warriors on the ropes. You know, you talk about the Warriors. Yeah, they didn't. The Mavs are what they are. You know, you had to play them to their advantage. They're jacking up threes. They're running gun. They're the Luka show. But I think the previous series, much more of a traditional team. Jaren Jackson, a real rebounder. They handle their own against them as well. They found a way to, team rebound. You know, so I think between even Curry's kind of a good rebounder, to be honest with you. I understand a lot of that's because they're jacking up threes and the ball comes back out. But I think between Looney, Draymond, hitting the boards, I think they'll be able to be formidable. You know.
Yeah.
Draymond obviously is not a big man, but I think he's basically one. He's lit, he's not listed as one, but he'll bang with you. He'll be in the paint. He's an enforcer by himself. So I think, obviously I'm very high on Draymond in general. I think he just deserves his flowers a little bit more, but I definitely think we got a good series tip off tomorrow. Back to the with the Warriors always being in it, we got the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock games.
Yeah.
But at least they should be interesting to watch.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you. I think it'll be and one last point I just want to make too is the Warriors' Achilles heel is turnovers. And I think like Boston leads the league in total defense and deflections and steals as well. So that's just, something to kind of like, in between the numbers to kind of even take a little bit of a closer look at. But like you said, it'll be good basketball in the season.
Yeah, and I guess we didn't discuss this at all, but I guess you should probably have, or I guess I want to know your thoughts on this. But Tatum, what does it mean if he gets his ring? Obviously with one of the most cherished franchises in the league, so he'll be one of the poster boys of the league. I think, my personal opinion, as much as they love Giannis, he's kind of in a bad market. I hate to say it, a hard name to pronounce. So he got a couple of things working against him. But Tatum, good old American boy, playing for the Celtics. So I think it could be very big for him in that squad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I definitely go down as he's already, and I really put him like in that Celtics like legend talk. I feel personally like the Paul Pierces, the Larry Birds, Bill Russells. I'm sure there'll be something along the lines of youngest to ever win it as a Boston Celtic or something like that. I don't know how old Bird was when he got his, or like Russell, or I know Paul Pierce, like more in the back half of his career, and he got his first ring. And I think he's just solidified himself. I think I'd probably put him at least like, argument for top 5 in the league, as far as just, accomplishments wise. He's put up some monster numbers in the playoffs, put up some monster numbers the last couple of years. I think he was first team all NBA this year. I think he even received votes for like defensive, all defensive teams. He's coming into his own. Growing up before our very eyes. I think some of them, I know he idolized Kobe. It was kind of just seeing some of the shots he started hitting towards the end of that game 7. He's kind of got that too. It's it's like almost like chasing a ghost, like in real time, as far as just trying to get to where his idol is at. So great storylines overall. I always say about Tatum, like, probably root for him more if he didn't play for Boston, if he wasn't a Duke. Didn't go to Duke, but it looks like more like he should have played for Kansas and played for like Denver or something. Like that's more, or like he should have been a Sixer. He should have been, he could have been a Laker.
Right.
So I just feel like it's one of them things. He's a good player, but yeah.
Agreed. And then we can transition here, but he goes to the Sixers, then everybody can finally get that Shaq and Kobe comparison they're trying to get.
That'd be real, yeah.
And it might have a ring or so to show for it by now.
Absolutely.
And I think next, just transitioning into, the Pistons draft. We're 25 days away. I think the draft's on the 25th of June, and it's heating up. Everybody in town is excited. Everybody that's a Pistons fan is excited. And obviously that 5th pick is very most important. But I think it is good to go ahead and take a look at that 2nd round pick that we have, and maybe some players that we can kind of target. Just take a look at here some of the players that are listed in that ballpark of where we'll be. And, so just kind of wanted to see if you had anybody in particular you're looking at, or if kind of what you're feeling here for that 46.
Yeah, no, I think this is definitely a good opportunity to get a nice little diamond in the rough. Weaver's done a great job already. We talked quite a bit about, kind of our own, big 3 kind of forming with Cade and Sadiq and, Bagley or Stewart or, whoever you want to kind of throw into that. I feel like we're still kind of on the hunt for that 3rd piece, but that 3rd piece could also already be on our team. You kind of forget about the guys like Saban Lee, Isaiah Livers, Luka Garza, that can start to, fill that void of just being, a strong player off the bench, 8th, 9th, 10th man. come in, hit a couple threes, somebody out one night, come in and start, or, just be able to kind of fill in when needed. So yeah, I mean, I think, right now that guy's taking Musa Diabate, and we're big Michigan fans, so we're definitely well aware of how he is or how he plays and who he is. I think that'd be, will give us a little bit more athleticism, some defense off the bench. So I definitely like that pick. A couple other players I like to be a potential pick their force would be Jalen Williams. I mean, I think in this draft they got him going a little earlier, but he played at Arkansas, double machine. He's a real, big time energy guy, strong on defense. I just think that's somebody that I'd be a fan of. And then another guy also have him going a little earlier, and he probably will go a lot earlier, but this is more wishful thinking. Is Dalen Terry from Arizona? Watched quite a bit of him and Ben Mathurin play this year, and I mean I actually think he's Jason Terry's son, so he's got that basketball pedigree, and he's the 6'7", wing that can handle the ball. I mean, I think he had the only triple double for Arizona this year. So I just love guys that are big, long, and pause, guys that can play multiple positions at a high level. So yeah, that's my thoughts on just the second round pick.
No, so I looking at Diabate, something that obviously, like you said, we're closely familiar with what's going on and him coming on, him being a highly touted guy out of IMG, I believe, in Florida. And so with all that being said, I believe he'll be a solid player. If we were to take him, I would not be mad about that at all. I think it says it right here, but I do think he is a great defender. I've seen him, play some great help defense, come across with blocks, timely rebounds. He's a quick jumper. All that's true, but I think he's needs equally as much work on offense. As far as just he looked uncomfortable at times. He looked, running the floor, phenomenal. But as far as set half court, it does need a little bit of work. But I do think you've seen flashes where you could believe that a 19-year-old kid would be able to improve upon that. So, I would not be mad about that at all. Another guy, and often I pick players that I watch a lot because it obviously familiarized, but that's Max Christie from MSU. Obviously, that depends a lot about what we do with the first pick. If we're going Jaden Ivory, I doubt we come back, circle around with another guard again. But he's a good player. He was at State at least 2 years, possibly 3 years. But he's good. He can put the ball in the basket. I think he even ran point for them from time to time. He had the ball in his hands a lot, even as a shooting guard here. So I would not be mad about a player like that. He's got him going 2 picks before us here, but somebody like that could easily be anywhere within there. And then Caleb Houston is once again back to just relatability, but you brought it up earlier, and I'm kind of stealing your point. But I mean, I would not be shocked if in 2 or 3 years he's not hitting 2 to 3 threes a game for some team, because it's clear that he has a strap. It's clear that he can come in and get hot. I mean, there were some games in there where there were stretches where we all thought he was going to heat up, somewhere in like February, where he was starting to really come on, hitting 4, 5, 6 threes, or maybe not 6, but 4 or 5 threes in the game, a handful of times. And he's just a young guy, freshman. So he's going to be around on somebody's roster for sure in the future. It's just a matter of what direction you really want to go with that next pick. I know I'm like a broken record here, but I still think we got to go shooters, and continue to do that, because a lot of them won't work out. And then you can, kind of just load your roster up and then continue to draft shooters with these picks. Yeah. Some of them are going to work out, other ones won't. And then you continue to fill your roster out with all that money you got left over.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I think that I've been told many times that this draft is pretty deep. So I think there's going to be a lot of players that'll fall to the second round that aren't necessarily, might have been first round players if it was a different year. but yeah, I mean, just see how it unfolds. And I mean, yeah, I mean, as you start to scroll, I can see even more players. I mean, the guy Bryce McGowan's from Nebraska. I mean, I think he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
Man, that actually was our pick that we ended up trading to the Raptors. It looks like, but I mean, I wouldn't even hate, I wouldn't hate them getting, it's like a wing or just somebody that you can kind of just maybe plug in. I've got some solid potential. Obviously, you can find somebody that is nice little spot up shooter. In the second round, that'd be ideal. Depending on what happens with Jeremy Grant and moving off of him. I mean, Kelly Olynyk, could like not re-sign with us. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that could. I think there's players that we could draft some people, somebody in this draft that kind of shifts how free agency looks for us when it comes to re-signing certain players or letting them walk.
Yeah, for sure.
Well.
Maybe I'm completely blanking, but when did we trade with the Raptors?
Yeah, that I'm not even I'm not sure.
2014 or something. I don't even like. I can't.
Yeah, that
recently, but no. So I agree with you on that. I think we're obviously in a great spot. Cade recently was on the Slam cover. He's getting a lot of press. You sent me a dope YouTube video of them, just kind of a lot of behind the scenes interview. I think we clearly have a star here. We clearly have a guy who shows that he's driven. He talked a lot about things that I love to hear. He said he was new goals. He was working toward things. He brought in the team. He said, me and the guys, me and the team. He wasn't selfish about it. So, I think we're clearly headed on the upward swing, and landing some of these back half picks like this is when you kind of put a little bit of steroids into the program and boost it, and maybe you make the playoffs a year sooner, or maybe you win a playoff series a year sooner than you were going to, because one of these guys land and you hit. I mean, people draft. I'm not that we should go get a European, but I mean, Jokic was drafted somewhere in this ballpark. Manu Ginobili drafted in this ballpark. So I think all the time there's players that are diamond in the roughs here, and so
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like I said, it's the draft is a lot closer than we think. I believe it's the 23rd of June. So I mean, yeah, we'll have a couple more games of basketball. Hopefully we can, get seven more games. That'd be ideal. But yeah, I mean, it's right around the corner, and just we're looking forward to seeing, Weaver in action again. I'll say, I mean, obviously you want your team to be playing still like today, but I think I do get a lot of excitement just kind of sitting back, knowing that our guy Weaver is, he's going to make some smart moves. And I see him definitely being active, trying to probably get rid of Jeremy Grant, get another pick in that first round. And we'll see what happens.
No, sure. I'm right there with you. I believe in him. I think, we're headed in the right direction. So yeah, no, I believe in them. You got anything else for people?
That's all I got, man.
Yes, sir. We'll be back at Sunday with a game review, and yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah, that was a solid one. I think